Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about precipitation. What are the common types of precipitation? Suppose you could control the weather. If you wanted it to rain, you would have to get water from somewhere. Water evaporates from every water surface on Earth and eventually falls back to the surface. We mentioned that in the water cycle. Precipitation is any form of water that falls from the clouds and reaches the Earth's surface. It is a vital part of the water cycle. In warm climates, precipitation is almost always rain. In colder regions, it may fall as snow or ice. Common types of precipitation include rain, sleet, freezing rain, snow, and hail. Rain, the most common kind of precipitation, is rain. As shown in Figure 1, droplets of water are called rain if they are at least 0.5 millimeters in diameter. Precipitation, made up of smaller drops of water, is called drizzle. Precipitation of even smaller drops is called mist. Measuring rain. What if scientists need to measure how much rain is fallen? An open-ended tube that collects rain is called a rain gauge. The amount of rain is measured by dipping a ruler into the water or by reading a scale. For rainfall to be measured more accurately, a rain gauge may have a funnel at the top that collects 10 times as much rain as the tube alone would without it. The depth is easier to measure. To get the actual depth of the rain, it is necessary to divide by 10. There's a simple example of a rain gauge there. Here's your chart of a typical droplet size. Raindrops, drizzles, mist, and cloud droplets. Here's just an example of some freezing rain. On a cold day, rain droplets can sometimes fall as liquid water but freeze. When they touch a cold surface, this kind of precipitation is called freezing rain. Snow. You probably know that snowflakes have an endless number of different shapes and patterns, with many of them 6 sides or branches. A snowflake forms when water vapor in a cloud is converted directly to ice crystals. Snowflakes often join together into large clumps of snow in which the crystals are hard to see. Hail. A hailstorm is a round pellet of ice larger than 5 millimeters in diameter. If you cut a hailstone in half, you would see layers of ice like layers of an onion. Hail forms only inside cumulonimbus clouds during thunderstorms. A hailstorm starts as an ice pellet inside a cold region of a cloud. Strong updrafts carry the hailstone up through the cold region many times. Each time the hailstone goes through the cold region, a new layer of ice forms around it. Let me say it again. Each time a hailstone goes through the cold region, a new layer of ice forms around it. So it gets thicker and thicker. Eventually, the hailstone becomes heavy enough to fall to the ground. Because hailstones can grow large, hail can cause damage to crops, buildings, and vehicles. There's a picture of hailstones. Sleet. Sometimes rain droplets fall through a layer of air that is below 0 degrees Celsius, which is the freezing point of water. As they fall, the rain droplets freeze into solid particles of ice. Ice particles smaller than 5 millimeters in diameter are called sleet. Measuring snow. Rain is not the only kind of precipitation meteorologists measure. Have you ever walked through a large snowstorm and wanted to know exactly how much snow had fallen? Snowfall is usually measured in 2 ways, by using a simple measuring stick or by melting collected snow and measuring the depth of water it produces. On average, 10 centimeters of snow contains about the same amount of water as 1 centimeter of rain. However, light fluffy snow contains far less water than heavy wet snow does. What are the causes of effects of floods and droughts? In September 2008, just 3 years after Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Gustav blasted the coasts of Louisiana and Mississippi. Lakes and rivers overflowed. The result was severe flooding. Floods. A flood is an overflowing of water in a normally dry area. The floods caused by Gustav, fortunately, were not as devastating as those by Katrina. Because of the flooding caused by Katrina, more than 100,000 homes and businesses were destroyed, along with many bridges and highways. One thing to note about Hurricane Katrina hitting Louisiana, New Orleans and the Louisiana area where Hurricane Katrina hit is built below sea level, and the levees broke, which caused that severe flooding. As we continue, causes and effects of floods. Not all floods are severe as those caused by a hurricane. Small or large, many floods occur when the volume of water in a river rises so much that the river overflows its channel. As rain and melting snow add more water, a river gains speed and strength. A flooding river can uproot trees and pluck boulders from the ground. It can even wash away bridges and buildings. People who live near rivers try to control floods with dams and levees. A dam is a barrier across a river that may redirect the flow of the river to other channels or store floodwaters so that they can be released slowly. A levee is an embankment built along a river to prevent flooding of a surrounding land. People sometimes strengthen levees with sandbags or stones and concrete, but powerful floodwaters can sometimes break through dams and levees. Droughts. If you went away for a month and no one was around to water your plants, what would happen to them? They would probably die from lack of water. A long period of scarce rainfall or dry weather is known as a drought. A drought reduces the supply of groundwater and surface water. A drought can result in a shortage of water for homes and businesses. Causes and effects of droughts. Droughts are usually caused by dry weather systems that remain in one place for weeks or months at a time. Long-term droughts can devastate a region. Droughts can cause crop failure. A drought can even cause famine in places where people must grow their own food. Streams and ponds dry up and people and animals suffer. People can prepare for droughts in several ways. When dry conditions first occur, people can begin conserving water. Farmers can grow drought-resistant plants that have been bred to withstand dry conditions. By practicing water and soil conservation, people can ensure that when droughts do occur, people will be well prepared for their effects.